Well, El, we might be talking a little Bama and Montana Fouts coming up shortly as we get set for the Crimson Tide and the Seminoles of Florida State. One spot left in the Champ Series and a date with Oklahoma on the line tomorrow.
When I was a young girl, they said an entire show on a national stage with women in starring roles could never happen. How thrilling that today you are proving them wrong.
And a perfect present for Montana Fouts.
And here we are, all eyes on you.
Coming to the plate, and she got her!
Hungry for a championship.
Mackenzie Donohue, gone!
Enjoy this dance with all your heart.
The freshman May gets her swinging. It's gone! Danny Morgan is not done yet!
This is your moment. Go for it.
In a must-win, they do win. Welcome to the NCAA Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. And welcome back to Hall of Fame Stadium, our second semifinal on deck. The Oklahoma Sooners beat JMU this afternoon 7-1. They are into the Champ Series out of the losers bracket. Florida State will try the same thing. They beat Alabama once yesterday, but the Crimson Tide are going with Montana Fouts and looking for a third trip in their history to the Championship Series. Hi, and we welcome you to Oklahoma City. I'm Beth Mowens with our gold medal winning crew, Jessica Mendoza, Michelle Smith, Holly Rowe will also be with us. We start out with the Alabama ace, Montana Fouts, who has been nearly untouchable, Michelle, for the last 6 weeks, winner of her last 14 starts, including a perfect game on Friday.
Yeah, she's just been outstanding in this postseason. 69 strikeouts in 35 innings, explosive at the top of the zone. It's velocity, it's her presence in the circle. She spins that rise ball at the top of the zone, and she is relentless. She hammers the strike zone. She has not given up a walk in this Women's College World Series. The emotion, the passion, the ability to paint the corners. Montana Fouts, the perfect game. 21 up, 21 down on her 21st birthday, which, happened to be National Donut Day as well. Donuts on the board for Montana Fouts. Excited to see her in the circle here again tonight.
Donuts greater than bagels. Way to go, Michelle Smith. So Fouts will be facing a Florida State lineup that has been so creative and so aggressive in manufacturing runs throughout this postseason. And Jess, their resilience is rewarded with a shot at the Championship Series here today.
Beth, they just keep doing it. And how they're doing it is getting the right hits. You hear about timely hits and how important that is in the postseason. That's exactly what they've been doing. They've got 21 of them. A third of all of those hits have been in clutch situations to have the go-ahead run. And then the speed, the grit, taking the extra base. We saw yesterday, backs against the wall again. Being able, if you even flinch, they will continue to run, they will continue to hit, and they will continue to win.
A couple of former champs want a shot at another one, and the Noles, off of their 2018 title, have now won 7 straight World Series elimination games. They've been living on the edge, and they've been loving every minute of it. Florida State has enjoyed the scenery of this journey once before en route to the national title in 2018. Alabama putting their faith in Fouts to guide them back to the promised land, seeking a third win over a former champ to reach the finals. Let's take a look at our Capital One starting lineup. The visitors, the 10 seed Florida State. Danny Morgan Sunday in the win over the Tide, 2 for 3, and scored a couple of runs. First time that they had a multi-hit game from a Seminole swinger. They had 3 of them yesterday. Let's send it down to the field now at Holly Rowe.
Well, Florida State has had to do it the hard way. They have had lengthy weather delays, playing late into the night, almost 2:30 in the morning 2 nights ago. played again yesterday in a lengthy rain delay. And guys, this has had an impact on their bodies. Well, it's too detailed to get into in a quick report. They have scientific information. They are wearing a wearable data information device that gives them feedback on sleep, rest, recovery, strain, and look at how fascinating it is. Red is the strain. That is bad. You want to see a lot of green in these graphs. Each graph is an individual player's input, because green means you are rested and recovered and hydrated. Today, a lot more green than we saw yesterday. That's why it was so important for the NCAA to make that decision and let them push this game until today.
2-hour-plus rain delay on Saturday had the Noles playing until after 2 a.m. local time early Sunday morning. And another lengthy rain delay yesterday. After that, there was a lot of pressure on the NCAA to start to think about making some changes to the schedule. And there she is, Montana Fouts, 27-3. 30 strikeouts without a walk so far in her 2 wins here at the Women's College World Series. Winner gets Oklahoma, game 1 tomorrow night in the finals.
Ball.
First pitch to Kaylee Mudge outside for a ball. The left fielder, the redshirt freshman from Winter Springs, Florida. Batting .385 here at the World Series. A late season addition to the lineup, moving into the top spot, has given them a lot of consistency in the leadoff. Huge turnaround for this program under Lonnie Alameda. Their first 9 trips to the World Series, they were 8-18. Their last 2 trips here, 9-2. With a championship and a shot at another Champ Series. Now in her 13th year. And despite the fact that they ended a 7-year run as champions of the ACC, the numbers on the stat sheet way down offensively. They have cobbled together opportunities, and Mudge leads things off with the base hit.
I asked Lonnie Alameda before the game, what's the approach to Montana Fouts? She said, choke and poke, just shorten up your swing, poke it through the middle. You couldn't ask for a better example. The first hit that we've seen since Thursday against Montana Fouts.
She had retired 22 in a row. Gave up just 2 hits in her first game here, and then the perfect game and the quick strike for the Noles. And let's see just how aggressive they will be on the bases. Sydney Sherrill, the third baseman, the junior. One of 5 in the lineup from their championship team. Facing not only Fouts, but this veteran battery. You got Bailey Hemphill behind the dish. Tremendous relationship all year long with Montana.
Ball.
Allie Habits and Stephanie Van Brakel. Pro throw assisting Patrick Murphy. Long time together. Both former players, both have been on this stage before.
Ball.
Patrick Murphy, 23 seasons for the Hall of Famer. 13th trip to the Women's College World Series. And the first SEC National Championship. They went dancing in the rain and beat Oklahoma in 2012. Hit and run. Fouled off by Sherrill. .3-2 from Fouts. Runner was on the move again.
steal some bases. 112 now in the season. No one has more here at the Women's College World Series.
They do not have a 300 hitter in the lineup, but they find ways to get a few on. They steal bases. They have hit a bunch of sacrifice flies. They move you over with a sac bunt. 6 of the 9 with great speed. Walk. And Cheryl draws a walk. First 2 on board.
Montana Fouts, when she is on, it's her rise ball. You look at where it starts from and where it ends up from a hitter's point of view that is in the strike zone. You see right there, Maya Brady, UCLA, sees it as a strike, commits to swing, but then the ball keeps elevating over the top of your barrel. You see that tight spin with the velocity. She'll throw it in the 70s. That is what makes her so good with that rise ball.
Knowles trying to make some early noise.
Well, you can already tell the game plan for Florida State is to split the strike zone, look from the belt down, lay off the up stuff. Hard to do, but if you can execute that against Montana Fouts, you're probably just going to see a lot of low hard stuff. She doesn't really mix speeds that much.
They ended Alabama's 20-game win streak with the win yesterday. Here's Elizabeth Mason, another one of the national champions. Has home run power. The other adjustment here, of course, is when you're playing a 3-game series, you're usually going to throw maybe game 1, game 3. You come to the World Series, you're going to throw maybe a couple days in a row. Very rarely do we see pitchers with 2 days off between starts, which, because of the weather delays and because of the start for Lexi Kilfoyle yesterday, Fouts has not worked since the perfecto. Mason gets a hold of one and cranks it, and it is gone, and Florida State jumps on top 3-0.
What did we say when we started this game? Florida State, they don't have a ton of home runs, they don't have a ton of hits, but they get the right ones. This is an 0-2 pitch that Elizabeth Mason finds in her cookie zone. It got out of here quick. And again, the Seminoles will not quit. Up 3-0 in the top of the first.
Hugs in the dugout for Mason. And a hot start for Florida State. A single, a walk, and a home run off of Fouts.
That is the 13th home run that she's given up this year, but like you said, Jess, a 0-2 pitch. All that velocity, all that speed that Montana supplies, you just have to barrel it up and it's going to go yard.
Choke and poke, that's what Lonnie Alameda said. She provides all the momentum. You just got to get your bat there.
That's in for a strike to Cassidy Davis, 0-2. Mason's Second home run of the postseason. She was just 2 of 14 in their 4 games in this World Series. And a strikeout of Davis, 1 down.
It's a rise ball and it just does not get up. And Mason immediately knew that ball was going out. She has come up with some of the biggest hits for Florida State over the last 4 years.
Hit 2 home runs in the World Series in 2018. Drove in 9. And the 3-run shot here. Devin Flaherty steps in. Back foot practically out of the back of the batter's box here, giving herself a little more time against Montana. Couldn't reach away. Special delivery, Mason residence.
That's her father, who's her longtime coach.
Slow roller, Morgan. 2 down.
Carl Mason actually coached the Clearwater Bombers. His daughter played for him, and it's been a big part of the softball, youth softball in the Clearwater area.
A tradition here at the World Series. Family gets the home run ball.
Girl dad grins are the best.
Against Arizona, it was Morgan and Davis. Against Oklahoma State, it was Shelnut. Yesterday, it was Danny Morgan. And today, Lizzie Mason. Those veterans, all with big shots.
Ball.
The experience of having been on this stage before.
Yeah, you look at the numbers, a .258 batting average for the team, and you're like, boy, how are they going to score runs? But they've been able to. They've been resilient. And as you mentioned in the open, Jess, they run, they stir the defense.
Ball.
It's incredible, though. I mean, this is a team that was, what, 3rd, 4th in the ACC,
yes,
in the conference. And how much they struggled to find themselves, big losses, just didn't even seem like they were going to get to the postseason. And here they are in the semifinals, up against what you could say is the best pitcher in college softball.
Yeah, agreed.
They were 1 for 18 with runners in scoring position here at the World Series until yesterday, and are now batting .500 WISP against Alabama in the 2 games.
Wow. Oh, that's a similar path to what they did in 2018 when they won. They lost to UCLA, fought their way back through.
Second strikeout for Fouts, but Mason puts a charge into the Seminoles at a 3-run shot.
The senior, Elizabeth Mason, she said she's not coming back next year, but she has left her mark on this program, and another one gets her Seminoles up 3-zip.
Check out the Capital One starting lineups for the 3-seed Crimson Tide of Alabama. Bailey Hemphill, how about the 700 on-base percentage? 4 walks, 4 runs. She hit a home run. The SEC's Player of the Year and a first-team All-American, one of the great SEC power hitters of all time. And it looks like the Tide is gonna need that bat. Will she get pitches to look at? Down 3-0 with 27-game winner Catherine Sandercock, the sophomore from Virginia, in the circle.
Sandercock has been strong this year with those 27 base on ball. She's done a good job at limiting the free passes.
3-1, 18 2/3 innings of work, just 3 earned runs allowed in her 4 appearances here in Oklahoma City.
Sandercock is going to attack you at the lower half of the zone. Look at the ball movement. So she'll start at the front of the plate and it just drops down. But she'll also elevate. She's got a rise ball as well. She'll go north, she'll go south. She steps off to the left, so she's got a little bit of a I like to call it a scrise. It's a screwball, it's a rise ball. You combine them together, runs away from the lefties.
Well, the big key for Alabama is that they got a good pitching performance from Lexi Kilfoyle yesterday, but the bats never woke up. They had just 2 hits and were shut out for just the 4th time all season. And Mack will look to start things off. Down 0-2. Into foul territory, and the shift is on again for the left fielder, Kaylee Mudge, who was all over that in foul territory, 1 down. Here we go with Bailey Hemphill.
Question will be, how many good pitches does she see to hit without anyone on first base? And that was the difference for them yesterday, is Alexis Mack not getting on base was huge. We always talk about Tao after Hemphill. A lot of times it's who hits before the big hitters to force them to throw to Bailey.
Hemphill grounds it to Muffley. 2 down. Being told now we need to adjust our scorebooks. The fly out for Alexis Mack, she was ruled out of the batter's box, so score it 2-U. Yep.
Yes. There it is, out of the batter's box.
Kaylee Tao, another grounder to Muffley, playing with that knee brace. And a cannon of an arm. Josie Muffley slings it. 3 up and 3 down. 3-zip Knowles.
Josie Muffley with a knee brace in the 5-6 hole. She's doing 2 in a row. She plants, she fires. Elizabeth Mason doing it all at first. Keeping that toe there. They got her.
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. And Florida State has won a World Series with the home run ball. They have been a big swinging team in years past, but not this year. They're doing it a little bit differently. They are putting pressure on the defenses with their speed on the base path. They are wreaking havoc in all of their base running. They've got 6 of 7 stolen bases this World Series, and it's really fun. It's a different type of team. It's a different type of Florida State attack, but their creativity, their pressure that they're putting on the defense has gotten them here to a game or a win away from the Champ Series.
Taking that extra base, and that's what you see here in this awesome trail. We see a single turn into a triple. Just Danny Morgan, this was one of my favorites. She gets us in the gap. It's an automatic double off the bat, but watch her not even slow down. As soon as there is a slight bobble out there in center field, she takes it all the way to third base.
She would end up scoring on a single right after that. And they figured they'd do things a little differently today and just go deep. A 3-run home run for Lizzie Mason in the first inning. 7, 8, 9 due up. Winner gets Oklahoma tomorrow night in the Champ Series, Game 1.
Well, and to Holly's point, that was just the 45th home run of the year for Florida State. You look at Oklahoma, we just saw last game, they're, what, at 150 something? So they're
155, I believe now.
Yep, with all those blasts.
Jocelyn almost has as many as the entire team. 7:30 tomorrow night will be our first game. That's 2 or 3. We talked about this on opening day Thursday. If you lose your first game, you have a 7% chance of winning the national championship. Oklahoma is trying to buck those odds. They are in the finals. Florida State also lost on Thursday, trying to beat the odds to come all the way back.
Ball.
Look at the last 2 Women's College World Series. They're up to 7 straight elimination game wins. They didn't make it in 19. We didn't play last year.
Ball.
They just need to figure out how to not play on Thursday and undefeated.
Or not play UCLA in the opener. Both times their only losses, the Bruins.
Just like in the first inning, the leadoff on board. Here's Anna Shellnut. A home run that literally brought her to tears on Saturday, busted out of a big-time slump. I think we can bring postseason Anna back after this one.
Curveball in the inside corner, and she just rotates on it. And folks, she hit that not just out of the 200-foot fence, but over the 250-foot fence. Was it 270-ish, I would say?
Got the measuring tape out.
Ball.
We're pretty sure it was such a great hug when she touched home that it smudged her mask into her face, and that little cut there on her lip actually drew a little blood. Well worth it for Anna. 1-1 from Montana Fouts. Morgan looking to second, but nobody's there. Muffley to third. Woodard was not yet at the base.
And this is a defensive play where it's all about timing. So Maddie Morgan, right away, she knows she needs to get the lead runner and go to second base. But if Savannah Woodard is not at the bag, then you're not going to be able to make this play. And that was part of the problem, is that Woodard was late getting to the bag. And because of that, so look where she's at. She's going to have to come all the way over this way. And it's a foot race. And when you're on the run immediately, as a base runner, you know it's going to be a foot race to the bag, and Muffley just beats her, and you can see the throws back inside the line.
Well, it's a hit and run, so Muffley's going, and I don't think they really had her. I think that's where your dugout's talking, and you go straight to first base.
The number 9 hitter, Kaylee Harding. So this is what we were talking about at the top of the inning, how they just create something out of nothing, a free pass, and now an error, and taking advantage of the extra base.
But because Muffley was running, it sped everything up. That's a routine possible double play out. But it was just literally the speed of Muffley because she was stealing.
And so you create the havoc to the defender who's fielding the ball, but it's that foot race, right? Between the runner and then it's ball bag, whoever's going to the bag to cover. It's tough, catching on the run and throwing on the run.
First and third situation, we just saw Bailey Hemphill step out in front of the plate to make sure everybody's ready defensively. Also the possibility of the squeeze.
Ball.
Watch the aggressiveness of Muffley on third base. A lot of times Florida State will go on down angle. So as soon as Harding makes contact on the ball down in the dirt, it's almost like a delayed steal in a lot of ways. Muffley will get a big jump. She sees it down, she'll go.
One and two. Left side, Clark back, makes the catch. Muffley will hold. One down, and it's back to the top.
Bailey's been their hottest hitter, very consistent at the plate.
He's 3 for 4 against the Tide in the 2 games. Singleton scored in the first.
Ball.
Trouble for Alabama and Fouts in the first, and again here in the second. Mudge drops it down, and a run will score. Safe at first as they squeeze home Muffley.
And the game plan for Florida State is just to shorten up and poke. There is no off speed, so they are just looking to put the ball in play. And with that speed, these are all and runs, hit and runs, bunt and runs.
You guys noticing anything different from the perfect game with Fouts the other day to what's happening right here in a 4-0 Florida State lead?
A completely different type of offense. So the perfect game was against free swingers, big cuts. This is all about choke and poke, make contact, stir the defense. Everyone is running, everyone is moving.
Well, in the rise ball, I think it's a pitch that has been so devastating for her that looks like a strike, ends up a ball. Right now, Florida State not swinging at the ones that are up in the zone. They're laying off of it. And I think when you slow things down, you're able to see that spin so much better.
Crystal Goodman has actually gone out to the Alabama bullpen here. Oh, Kilfoyle is out there as well. Lexi on the left. What a start for Florida State. And there's still just the one out. Sherrill walked and scored in the first. The home run hitting Mason is on deck.
And that's the other key. She needs to throw to the inside corner. A lot of these pitches have been located on the outside corner. It gives you a little more time as a hitter to let that fast pitch get in. I think she needs to throw a lot more pitches on the inside.
Ball.
Singles and walks, taking advantage of an error, dropping down a squeeze. Showing the full arsenal here are the Noles. As Fouts tries to fight back. Outside, 2-1.
Well, the other thing I'm seeing is that outside pitch. First off, she's not getting a lot of calls because her ball is continuing to run out of the zone against the lefties. So it's a command and control issue as well.
.72 miles an hour from Montana. It's 2-2.
Ball.
Sydney Sherrill, her 4 at-bats versus Bama, 3 3-ball counts. This will be the 4th 3-ball count. She's had 2 walks, a hit. Just has a great idea of the strike zone.
Ball.
Draws another walk, and the bases are loaded for Mason.
Well, Lonnie Alameda said choke and poke, that's the approach to Montana fans. Watch Elizabeth Mason, 2 strikes. She's choking up on the bat. And you see as her front foot comes down, she's literally just trying to get to contact. But when it's coming in at 72, it's going to leave at 72 plus and get out of here in a hurry. But you see her hands up on the handle of the bat. Just allows her to shorten everything up. Fouts provides the power.
And when you're a high velocity pitcher or a high speed pitcher and your ball is not moving a lot, this is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see the choke and poke. You like those big cuts.
Swinging, yeah.
You like the big swing.
Just a remarkable turn, these 4 runs. They've only given up this many once during their 20-game winning streak that got broken up yesterday. Florida State jumping out quick. Big strikeout for Tana. 2 down.
Well, after giving up the home run in her first at-bat, they come back underneath the hands, but low. They go back outside with the fastball that's sinking, and they get the strikeout again outside with that sinking fastball. It's like a over the top drop ball. So it's that 4-seam, and Carl's like, hey, that's all right. That's the coach. That's the coach.
Still 1 for 2.
Dad.
Bases are still loaded for Davis. Cassidy had the walk-off sacrifice fly to beat Arizona in the 7th inning. Their win on Saturday afternoon. They had to beat Arizona and then Oklahoma State to get into the semis.
Ball.
3 runs in the first, 1 more here in the second. Shellnut, Mudge, and Sherrill aboard. Crystal Goodman making her way back into the dugout. And the bullpen. 1-2 pitch.
Ball.
Haven't seen a lot of chase. The swing and misses have come with pitches in the zone, which is still the movement of outs. But a lot of takes on the ones that were getting swung at a ton Friday night in her perfect game.
Already a 30-pitch inning for Fouts, and gets the back-to-back strikeouts. They leave them loaded, but 1 run does come in, 4-0, Florida State.
The NCAA Women's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Now the sights before our semis today from the 12-person Highlight Pro skydiving team, formed a couple of years ago, inspired by the women's suffrage movement to earn the women's right to vote in the United States. The pink-colored streamers in honor of the 12th annual Strikeout Cancer Night that is usually game 1 of the champ finals. That's coming up tomorrow because of weather delays. Our semifinals were bumped back to this afternoon and tonight. The winner of this one will meet the Oklahoma Sooners. They eliminated James Madison 7-1. Big pitching performance from G. Juarez. Jocelyn Allo, a towering home run ball. Seeking a 5th national championship. Florida State, 4 runs in the first couple of innings, and a hole for the Tide to try and dig themselves out of. Went down in order in the first, so here's Johnson, Sides, and Woodard. Straightaway center. Morgan one down.
Catherine Sandercock is so lethal through the zone because of the way that she moves her pitches. Look how she's going to step to the left, and then look at the trail of this pitch. So she's coming at you, and then that runs that ball to the outside part of the plate. So really good look at what the hitters are seeing and trying to protect.
Especially the lefty, Smitty, because it looks like all 6 feet of Catherine Sandercock is coming right at you because that's where her body is stepping, and the ball goes out away.
And to your point, Jess, there's 6 lefties in this lineup for Alabama. So such an advantage for Sandercock, the way she throws that outside pitch to those lefties.
How about 9 pitches for 9 strikes to open up the game? 10 for 10 for Catherine.
So you can see how she goes left foot down. Just great mechanics and command. Really working that outside part of the dish. Arm side strength.
KB side's a 300 hitter, but she's looking for her first hit of this Women's College World Series. Seniors up and down this lineup, so they've got plenty of fight left in them. Winners of the SEC tournament this year at home at the Rhodes House. Mason's got it. 2 down. Savannah Woodard, a couple of hits here at the World Series for the sophomore from Warrior, Alabama. Prep Alabama Player of the Year. Dead ball foul.
Lonnie Alameda does such a good job getting her pitchers prepared. Obviously the whole team, her hitters as well, but specifically the pitcher. She talks about take you up the ladder with the rise ball, but drop the ladder in the dirt, and that's what Sandercock does. She's got those 2 different types of drop balls where they're cut and they'll run. Uses her angles.
Yeah, talking to her this morning, she said she'll spend an hour and a half, 2 hours scouting the other team by herself, and then another hour and a half sitting down with the battery, all her pitchers, and a shell net behind the plate to then go over their approach to every single hitter.
And the strikeout, that's the first for Sandercock, has retired the first 6 that she has faced.
Dropping it off a table, this one in on the hands of Savannah Woodard to get strike 3.
Earlier today, Jocelyn Allo, the leader in home runs in the nation, got another one. Matter of fact, trotting the bases. Little tap with Patty Gasso, and there's the smile. 7-1 win for the Sooners over James Madison. We saw somebody online suggesting that her home run calls should be Jalo shots. So kudos to whoever that was. Jalo going deep. They await the winner of Florida State, Alabama. Right now, the Noles are up 4-0. A 3-run first inning on a Elizabeth Mason home run. Clark won't have a play from short. 3rd inning in a row that the leadoff is on. And a base hit for Flaherty. Flaherty is the 8th person on base through the first 3 innings. An extraordinary turnaround from Friday when nobody was on base in Fout's perfect game.
And just to show what the Florida State offense is doing to Montana Fouts, entering this 3rd inning, she had thrown 60 pitches in just the first and second inning compared to Sandercock, who's thrown just 16.
Wow. A clear game plan against Montana Fouts. It's also the buy-in, though, too. It's one thing for Lonnie Alameda and staff to come in and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. You look at Montana Fouts' numbers the first 2 games. 1 run, just the 2 hits, already doubled that in 1 game tonight. And the 3 walks, that's what stands out most since April 18th versus Florida.
Yeah, she didn't have any in the first 2 games. There's another one that will scoot through the 5-6. Everything going FSU's way right now. Women's College World Series continues with the champ finals. And we'll get things underway tomorrow on ESPN. For more information, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 championships.
Well, and I think another thing too, Jess, is there's a really strong possibility that Florida State was prepared for Montana Fouts yesterday.
Yes.
They got Lexi Kilfoyle, but they were prepared for Montana Fouts yesterday.
Yep, that's their mindset. That was their batting practice. Everything was Fouts, Fouts, Fouts. Then Lexi Kilfoyle pitches. They end up getting to her, and then they are having extra time to prepare even more for Montana Fouts.
And they're going to continue to play small ball. This is their game. You get runners on, you bunt them over, and then you get back to the and runs. The ball angled down, you get the lead, and you just make the contact, put it in play somewhere, and put stress on the defense.
To Muffley. She looked like she may have tweaked the knee again. We had them earlier this season. Remember Michelle against Georgia Tech, and she had a nasty tumble, and we weren't sure if we would see her again, and she did end up coming back in that series, and obviously has been playing throughout the year, but tweaked that knee again yesterday and has added the brace. Holly?
Well, she's basically been wearing that knee brace all season long. She just got rid of it a couple of weeks ago, but then tweaked it again last night. She is used to injury, guys. She had a broken back after playing hockey. Her L3, L4 vertebrae broke. She was bedridden for 3 months. She's had a separated shoulder, a broken ankle. This kid can play through a lot, and she is.
Played baseball and hockey as a kid before committing to softball full-time. Went after the rise, 1 down. 5th strikeout for Fouts.
Fouts getting underneath that rise ball, coming underneath the hands, coming to the inside corner of the plate, and I think it's going to be important for her to get that movement. It's not just the speed of that pitch, it's the movement of that pitch that's going to be important.
And showing up. Strike 1.
Ball.
2 more hits here in the 3rd. The total now is up to 10 hits in the last 5 innings against Alabama here in the last 24 hours. More short game. Fouts gets the out at first. The 2 runners move over 60 feet. And it's the number 9 hitter, Harding, who popped up her first time up. Last time they had a runner at third base, they tried to squeeze her home and did. Harding swinging away, and that'll do the job. 1 run is in. They're trying for a second. Hemphill does not get the tag in time on Morgan. Two-run base hit for Harding, and it's 6-0.
Harding just uses the ground, the 9-hitter, but watch Jenny Morgan run through the stop sign. You see the hand being held up in the air, and look at the slide around home to get in there. You take another look from the left field angle. Morgan.
Oof.
Did Hemphill get her?
Oh, I think she might have, because the hand was up in the air still before.
Oh, no. I think she got in.
Let's see.
Oh, I don't know. That's close.
We
There
can't
is
tell.
no replay yet. Yeah. And it looks like Patrick Murphy will be forced to make the pitching change here in the top of the 3rd inning. Lexi Kilfoyle on in relief of Montana Fouts. And we will take the timeout. 6-0 FSU. Two and 2/3 innings for Fouts. The 6 hits, the 5 earned runs. Still a runner out on second base as Lexi Kilfoyle comes on. A 6-0 Florida State lead for a spot in the Champ Series against Oklahoma. Kilfoyle got the start, took the loss yesterday. And she will jump right in against the top of the lineup. 2-run single from Kaylee Harding, getting 2 more runs in here in the 3rd. Mudge with 2 outs.
Everyone in this Florida State lineup, as we head back to the top with Mudge, has gotten on base except for 1. Only in the 3rd inning, and I keep saying how this is a 200 hitting team, not known for their offense, but they know how to rally. They recognize when a team is on their heels, and they just keep pressing.
To your point, Jess, they're just catching the ball with their bat. They're just nice and easy, right? Just nice, easy swings. Except for Mason, she went yard. But just, looking to play some pepper, right? That's why it's one of the best sports for young athletes to play is pepper, so you have bat control.
Google it, folks.
Well, it's great game planning too, right? From Lonnie Alameda and Travis Wilson and Troy Cameron, their coaching staff. They're going to go for another run here. Harding to the plate. 7-0 as Mudge takes second.
That's her 3rd hit. She had the squeeze that scored a run, her 2nd at bat, a single almost identical to this one. And to your point, Smitty, she just gets the contact. I mean, literally, just find the ball, meet it, and it's gonna go.
Look at the turnaround against the Alabama pitching right here. 6 of 13 RISP after they were 1 for 18.
Ball.
Against UCLA, Arizona, and Oklahoma State. The momentum seems to build with every win. More confident at the plate.
Well, isn't that what the sport is all about? Confidence is king.
Just believing.
They've already matched their hit total from the entire game yesterday, 7 of them. 7 of the 9 in the lineup have scored a run tonight for Florida State. They were shut out by UCLA and then started to get things going in the elimination game, squeaking by, and now the explosion in the semifinals. Very similar to 3 years ago on their title run.
Ball. Well, the 2 runs they scored last night felt like 4 runs, 6 runs, 8 runs because Alabama offensively was not doing anything against Kaylin Arnold or Catherine Sandercock, and that's why these 7 runs up on the board feel like 70.
Well, and similar to Megan King, right? She wasn't the biggest name arriving at the World Series. She left as the biggest name. And Catherine Sandercock going about her business impressively so far at the World Series.
Well, guys, well coached. Yes, it's about preparation. It's about the scouting. It's also about the buy-in. And Lonnie Alameda, I played for her at Stanford. I can't tell you how much she gets you to believe, to really understand, and doesn't lie to you. She's not going to tell you, Michelle Smith, that you're going to hit 50 home runs. She's going to say, look, you're a gap hitter. This is what you are. You're a great punter. You're a great runner. Whatever it is that makes you great, she gets the buy-in from her players.
And they might be a 250 batting, average team, but they have over 100 steals, and speed never slumps.
Boy, a good eye at the plate is tough to beat. Sydney Sherrill has already walked twice. She's working on another. She had a big walk to drive in a run with the bases loaded yesterday. She'll go ahead and swing instead. And an 8th run will cross the plate on the double from Sydney Sherrill.
This is the best that they've hit all season long, and they're doing it against one of the best teams in the country. Usually you see the reverse. You get to the World Series, all the numbers go away because it's so hard. You're facing such great pitching, but for Florida State, they hone in, they focus, they're better now than they have ever been. And every day this tournament that they stay alive, all these elimination games, they get even better.
Hugs all around in that dugout, and now they're locked in on the scoreboard because it's run rule territory already. Thinking about shortening this game to get even more rest before the championship series begins.
Well, Alabama absolutely just has to respond in the bottom of this inning. They don't have to score 8, they need to score something.
They would be held to just 3 more at-bats here unless they can muster something at the plate. Three in the first, 1 in the second, 4 more in the third. Oh, this coming with 2 outs. Six hits in the inning, with RBIs for Harding, Mudge, and Sherrill. Mason is the 8th to the plate here. And a short, Clark finally brings it to a close. Knowles busting out the whooping sticks right now. 8-0 Florida State. It started with Mason's long ball in the first, and they just keep coming. 8 runs on 8 hits. Hugs times 2.
We can lose the battle, but we gon' win the war. I'm from the
downtown Oklahoma City and the Hall of Fame Stadium. for the national semifinals. Lots of big hits here for Florida State.
Well, a lot of it's the locations. Look at these pitches, too sweet over the white part of the plate. And so what is Florida State doing? They're capitalizing. That's the home run pitch that is right above the belt and over the plate. Another one right down Broadway. And when you put the ball over the plate like this and you've got an opponent who is choked up, it's a lot easier to put the ball in play. And that's exactly what Florida State has done against Montana Fouts here this evening.
Practically untouchable in the first two games. Only the 2 hits. Had a perfect game on Friday night. And Florida State writing a different script here this evening. Catherine Sandercock has retired 6 in a row, and this is getting into remarkable territory. 16 strikes in 17 pitches to open up the game.
It's efficient. Pretty darn efficient. And Alabama's going to have to start getting aggressive.
Morgan swinging. 1 down. Monday Night Baseball is an NL Central leading Chicago Cubs matchup with the San Diego Padres fighting for the top spot in the NL West. Monday Night Baseball tonight at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on ESPN.
And Jess, and back to your point about Sandercock and efficiency. Normally you want to throw 15 to 17 pitches an inning. That's a good inning. She's thrown that through 2 1/3.
Remarkable. Another strike there. Oh, and 2.
Best souvenir ever. I love all the gloves. A lot of young girls out there, gloves, ready to catch some foul balls.
Yep. Oh-2 pitch to Taylor Clark.
Good ball.
Well, if Alabama can get something going, it will be one for the ages. This is by far the largest deficit they have faced this season in terms of trying to make a comeback. Clark, Brown, and then back to the top of the order. And as it stands right now, they may not get more than a couple at-bats. Somebody's got to start it to change the momentum a bit. And there it is. Taylor Clark gives him a base runner and a first step. Trying to pick up her mates.
And that was the one pitch she could hit. It's an off speed on the outside corner, and the way that Clark casts her arms, this is the one pitch that she can hit, and it's thrown down there. I think Sandercock should have gone down with the drop ball and stayed away from the off speed. But kudos to Clark for picking up the first hit of the game for Alabama.
Now Alyssa Brown. And that'll scoot through. Back-to-back hits for Bama. Top of the order.
Alyssa Brown just placing this. We talked about Sandercock having 2 different drop balls. One away, one in, and nice moves by Taylor Clark. Dodged the ball. I wish she would have been out.
This is huge right here for Alexis Mack because you're never out of any game if you can get Bailey Hemphill to the plate with runners on base. The all-time home run leader in Alabama history on deck. Mack's got to be wary of her footwork here. She was called out for being out of the batter's box her first time up. Well, that chalk line just about dissipated on the inside of the batter's box. Can't have any part of your foot out of it. 0-1 pitch. Shellnut gave it a go. 0-2.
Good read by Anna Shellnut, only having a second to leave her feet. Almost got to this one. Seen a lot of great effort from some catchers here at the Women's College World Series.
Pivotal moment right here because if they get out of it, you don't even have to deal with Bailey in the next inning. You could put her on base.
And look at the defensive shift out in left field.
Wow. Strikeout for Sandercock. So Bailey will get a chance here with a couple on.
That is great coaching. This is a pitch that's going to be on the outside corner. That's why everyone is scooted over to the left side, because they're hammering the outside corner. Mack just can't catch it.
The deep breath, the shoulder shimmy as Hemphill grounded out in her first at-bat. Looking to get something going for the Tide.
Ball.
Singles from Clark and Brown. Outside corner, 1-1. Hemphill goes the opposite way, and that will drop in front of Harding. And the Crimson Tide break through and they get a run home. RBI double for Hemphill.
And Bailey Hemphill, after the strike that was called before this, a little bit off the plate, she kind of paused and said, I didn't really think that was a strike. And this is a sign of a great hitter. So what does she do? She goes and hits that same pitch off the plate, off the end of the bat, but so much power, able to drive this ball, score a run, and get Bam on the board.
Clark comes in to score, Brown to third. They'll actually score an RBI single, and then Bailey took the extra base. After a rocky start for the Tide, they're trying to strike back after Florida State put up a 4 spot in the top of the inning. This is what Kaylee Tao can do. She showed us on Friday.
No matter if you pitch to Bailey or not, Kaylee Tao has had the biggest role because she comes after the biggest hitter, and she proved after the walk to Hemphill against UCLA, the biggest hit. Important bat in this lineup.
Grounded to short in the first. Swinging at the first pitch. Flaherty. Not in time. Brown scores. Hemphill to third. What an effort by Tao to get down the line.
Well, Kaylee Tao Tao hits from that left side, and she can get down the line. She's deceptive, puts this ball right back up the middle, and because it's slow developing, Flaherty takes a little bit of time here, maybe a bobble, feet crossed up, and just too much time. Tao hustling it out, getting down the line safe, brings in another run for Bama.
The 2 and 3 hitters produce, driving in the bottom of the order. Jenna Johnson lined out to center in the second inning. Hard hit, but foul. We talked about it top of the inning, Jess. You said they needed to get something. They don't need all 8 at once. They have done just that.
It's the response. You have to be able to respond. The show, Smitty had brought it up about when 8 runs can look like 18 when the other side of the scorecard is 0.
Johnson stays in fair territory. Mason will step on the bag at first. And a couple of runners left on, but Hemphill and Tao drive a couple home. And Alabama shows some life. To the 4th we go.
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. And Coach Murphy, Montana Fouts coming off a perfect game. What went wrong for her today?
First, Holly, I want to say congratulations to 2 legends in our game. Mike Candrea from Arizona, who retired, and Lou Harris, Champer from the University of Georgia. 2 incredible people, first of all, but just hellacious coaches, and I'm going to miss both of them. Montana, unfortunately, she was missing some of her spots. Sometimes that happens and it stinks. She's a great pitcher, and but don't turn the channel, because we still got a lot of fight in us, and we're going to show it.
We never doubt you, Coach, and I know you've been using hope as a mantra through midway point of this season, getting your kids to believe they can hope for good things. How did you see that manifest in that last inning?
Well, one of the other things we say is pass the bat, and I thought we did a really good job of that. If Jenna would have just maybe fouled that last pitch off, she might have got a better one to hit it fair, but you're going to see a lot of that for the next 4 innings, I guarantee you.
I promise.
Thanks, Holly.
Do not turn that channel.
Murph says don't change it. You don't touch that dial. 8-2, some life for the Tide. And you've never wanted a 1-2-3 inning more in your life if you're on the Alabama side of things right now.
Well, Pat Murphy's so great too. I mean, he's in the midst of this game, double elimination, backs against the wall, and he's thinking about Mike Candrea, Lou Harris, Champer. That's the first thing he wants to say is how great of coaches and people they are.
Yeah, legends. Cassidy Davis, 4, 5, and 6. Congratulations to Caitlin Lowe, who starred on this field in her playing days at Arizona. She will take over for Coach Candrea. And I gotta say, on behalf of our entire ESPN family, an opportunity to cover Coach Candrea and the Wildcats has been a thrill. We've enjoyed putting our voices and pictures to 8 national championships. And as great as this place is, it always seemed a little bit brighter when the Cats were here. And you knew if you were going to take the trophy home, Smitty, you were going to have to go through them to get it.
And that's what you want, right? You want to beat the best teams in order to win that national championship. And he always had a team that was prepared, ready to play.
Strikeout of Cassidy Davis, 1 down. Nobody has more wins than he does. Similar to the UCLA programs when they were coming here all the time, facing off against one another, that great rivalry. winningest coach ever, most championships, most appearances, most wins, and a two-time Olympic coach as well for Team USA.
What, because you won a silver, we can't put it up there? just the golds, just the golds. And to your guys' points too about, the best competition, that's how these coaches feel. I mean, right now, Patrick Murphy is up against one of the best in Lonnie Alameda and vice versa. I mean, when you're playing this game, it's the women on the field, but it's also that chess match of coaching. How hard you've worked to get these players prepared.
Of course, when he was here this week with Arizona, all he wanted to talk about first and foremost was the growth of the game. And of course, Arizona had a big part in that, but the expansion of the stadium, the ratings on television.
One of the greatest of all time. You put him, Sue Enquist, and Sharon Backus as the creators where we're at now.
Builders of the UCLA dynasty. They were the defending champs from 2019. Got knocked out by this Alabama side.
It'll also be weird to see Georgia without Lou Harris Champer.
Yes, it will.
I mean, I don't think anything identifies or personifies Bulldog more than Lou Harris Champer.
Agreed.
Flaming red hair, her energy and passion.
Well, they often played the way this Florida State team has played.
Yes.
By any means necessary, get the job done, get the W.
I think the only difference is, I don't know, would Lonnie dogpile? I mean, we know Lou Harris Champer will dogpile. I don't know about Lonnie. I'll have to ask her.
Should stay to the side and watch.
Comes the 2-2. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kilfoyle. Here's a look at the resume for Lou Harris Champer with the 7 trips here with 2 different programs. 21 of her 25 years in Athens with over 1,100 wins. She announced her retirement this weekend as well.
Seeing more retirements from coaches right now, and I really believe that COVID year last year allowed for a lot of coaches to see, hey, there is so much life outside of the game, and as much as they are so good in it, both Kendrea and Lou Harris Champer are parents, and Kendrea is also a grandparent.
Well, and just how much time coaching at this level really consumes of your life. To be successful at this level, you are locked in. You have short nights and long days.
I get texts from Lonnie Alameda. She'll be watching a Major League Baseball game at 2 o'clock in the morning and just like, hey, did you think that pitch on the spin on that pitch, do you think that was me? I'm like, she's still coaching.
Ball. Inside Morgan, 3-0. Danny had a couple of hits and scored both the runs last night in the 2-0 win over the Tide. Ball. And draws the walk with 2 outs. Well, they had a shot at a 1-2-3 inning, and now the free pass for Morgan will bring Muffley to the plate.
Muffley had the 2 hits off of Kilfoyle yesterday.
Walked and scored in the second. Ball.
I'm really impressed. I know Holly Rowe talked about the injuries that she's had from hockey. breaking her back, dislocating her shoulder, and now that knee. And when I watch her swing, I can't tell you how hard it is if you have any kind of weakness on that front foot. That's all your pressure. That's what you need to create the whip on your backside.
Runner goes, the throw down not in time, and a stolen base for Morgan to get into scoring position. Seventh stolen base of this World Series for the team.
Her 14th of the year, just right into the bag. Go toward the back, so it's a little bit longer tag from Clark.
Two and one. Lexi Kilfoyle came on in relief in the third inning for Montana Fouts, who, by the way, could re-enter if the Tide keep it rolling after the 2 runs they scored in the third. Kilfoyle, again, quick out of that circle. Terrific defensive pitcher. Can the Tide continue with the momentum? It's an 8-2 game.
Welcome back to the Women's College World Series presented by Capital One. Here with Florida State's head coach Lonnie Alameda. And coach, I'm going to put this as politely as possible. Entering the World Series, your team was hitting .241. How in the world have you reinvented yourself in the last 2 days, because you're hitting .355 against Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I think Troy and Travis has been after him the whole time of just, getting swings off, and, it's eventually going to come. And they had a pretty good scouting meeting today and got after it. And it's in us. It's just got to, get unleashed and be comfortable. And it's pretty awesome to see.
How do you keep this lead now, and how long do you let Sandercock go? Because Alabama got to her a little bit in the last inning.
Yeah, it's pitching and defense. I think defense a little bit too. Like, Dev stay back on that ball, and just some things. But I mean, she's given us everything she has, and she's going to continue to do that. We got Kaylin ready to go, and you guys haven't seen Watson, but she's awesome too. So I mean, it's throwing punches. They're a great ball club, and there's lots of ball game left.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Winner gets Oklahoma in the championship series, which gets underway tomorrow night. Our 7 innings live Women's College World Series special at 7 Eastern. First pitch around 7:30 on ESPN. 4 hitters so far for Catherine Sandercock. Couple of strikeouts, but can the Tide pick up where they left off? They brought 7 to the plate in the third, and they scored a couple runs, and here they come again.
I think they just answered you, Beth.
KB Sides the double to lead off. First hit of the Women's College World Series for Sides.
I love the aggressiveness early, because that's what we've seen from Catherine Sandercock. The best pitches have come early. Alabama taking a lot of those pitches. That is no longer the case. The last 2 innings jumping on these first pitches, and KB Sides, she is feeling that first hit of the World Series.
Boy, that momentum's a quirky thing, isn't it? You're down 8-0, and you start cobbling some hits together, starting with your number 8 and 9 hitters. And it's a whole different feeling right now for Alabama. And they have chased Cat Sandercock, and a pitching change for FSU. "24 of her 26 pitches were strikes tonight in 3+ innings of work. And the Crimson Tide in the last couple of innings have started to tee off on some of those strikes. The leadoff double by KB Sides leads to the pitching change to Kaylin Arnold. "31st appearance of the season for the senior out of Maryville, Tennessee. And a correction, it was 34 of 36 pitches for strikes. Wow.
That is insane.
Savannah Woodard, the first to see Arnold. Woodard to Mason. One down. Excuse me, Harding fighting the sun out there a little bit as the shade starts to push across the field.
Kaylin Arnold will throw that screwball. It'll enter the front of the strike zone and just run away from the lefties. And this is where she can be effective against a very lefty-heavy lineup in Alabama. But she also has that flip changeup you cannot forget about. She mixes speed. She works the edges.
Maddie Morgan lined out to first in the third. Sandercock had retired the first 7 batters she faced tonight, and then the hit parade started. Morgan, fly ball, left center. Danny Morgan's got it. 2 down. Hitless through the first 2, 5 hits since, and a couple runs in. And then the leadoff double for Sides, but the pitching change to Arnold has slowed things down a bit. Taylor Clark is the one that got it started last inning. She and Brown in the 8 and 9 spots singled and both scored on RBI singles from Bailey Hemphill and Kaylee Tao. Sides waiting at second. Grounds it to Flaherty, scoops to first. Arnold comes in out of the bullpen and shuts it down. 8-2 Florida State. One win away from a spot in the championship series as we move to the top of the 5th. 8-2 Florida State. Kaylee Mudge 3 for 3 has driven in a couple. It all started with the Mason Dinger in the first inning. Alabama got a couple of back in the bottom of the 3rd. Kaylin Arnold came on to squelch a rally in the 4th. And here come the Noles against Lexi Kilfoyle. And a shell nut in the 8th spot in the order, and a fly out to Alyssa Brown, 1 away. How about this week's sports lineup for you? Get ready for some soccer. The Euro's about to begin. Coverage on ESPN Friday afternoon and Saturday on ABC. NBA basketball for you Saturday night on ABC, and then late night UFC on ESPN Plus. All available on your ESPN app. Harding popped up in the 2nd and a 2-run single in the 3rd. Oklahoma awaits the #1 seed. beat JMU twice in the semifinals, including a 7-1 win this afternoon. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, I just got word that the Florida State football team is totally into this game. Hello, everybody there in Tallahassee. They are all in the team meeting room watching on the big screen. Shout out to Mike Norvell, their new coach down there. Really cool that they're all there supporting these ladies as they really battle. This will teach the Seminoles how to keep battling here.
Love to see that support from the rest of the athletic department.
Of course they're watching it.
Strikeout for Lexi Kilfoyle. That's her third. 2 down.
Kilfoyle throws that over the top drop ball, 4-seamer. Long and explosive over the top. You can see from the ump cam, that movement starts at the knee and just dives down to the dirt.
To Mudge. 3 singles, 2 runs batted in. 4 singles. Or will she go for 2? She will. And she'll make it.
The aggressiveness. I mean, this is a single all the way. I mean, Beth even said it was as soon as it was hit. We've seen this time and time again. Yesterday, Danny Morgan had a double, extended it into a triple, and Smitty, it's about off the bat thinking that. As soon as Kaylee Mudge hits this ball, she's thinking, I'm going to second base. Give me a reason not to take 2. Off the bat, it's a single, but look at her not even slow down, just challenge their outfield. You have to almost come up do or die charging to get them out.
When your leadoff is 4 for 4 in the 4th inning, fifth inning, it's a pretty good day for your offense.
New softball term, I'm going to call it a Mudge single, which could actually mean a double or a triple.
Then you got a Danny Morgan double that's a triple.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all through the lineup.
Yeah.
Maybe just call it a Seminole single.
Maybe I'll just wait to see what base they end up on before I actually call it.
Good stuff.
Cheryl has reached 3 times, a couple of walks, and an RBI double in the 3rd.
And how about what Lonnie Alameda said in the interview? I knew it was in there. It just needed to come out. Well, it's like they've waited all season long, and boom, it's exploded out here at the World Series.
And batters like Sydney Sherrill that didn't have the numbers that she had throughout her career were pressing early in the season, frustrated, not enjoying the game at all. And that's the best thing about postseason. You just throw everything out because it don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a $150 during the regular season, you had 2 home runs when you're a 15 home run hitter. What matters is what have you done for me lately? And when you look up and down this lineup, it's a whole heck of a lot.
One-two to Cheryl. And a called strike 3. Look who's coming up for the Crimson Tide. Top of the order with Bailey Hemphill. Getting another chance to swing it for Bama. 8-2 our score. Florida State with the lead over Alabama as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Semifinals on a Monday for the first time at the Women's College World Series. The winner of this matchup will face the Oklahoma Sooners, the #1 seed in the tournament. They are already into the Champ Series. Crazy to think about it, but 39 years of this championship, this would be the first time that both teams in the finals came out of the loser's bracket if Florida State wins this one.
I love it. I absolutely love it because, first of all, we get more softball, we get bonus, we get 2 more games that we wouldn't have had. We see the Oklahoma Sooners do what they did against JMU to get into the finals, and now Florida State, game not over yet, but it's been pretty incredible.
Well, and to me, that's just all about parity, right? It's the fact that these teams are all so equal. Anyone can beat anyone, and then come through the loser's bracket. And so being prepared, knowing that you get to play that extra bonus softball, to me, that's the best part of the Women's College World Series.
I'm also grateful that these games are being played today and not last night. It would have been in the 3, 4 in the morning. We're seeing better softball because of it.
Brown, Mack, and Hemphill due up. Your thoughts on the way the Sooners have been playing of late? They beat JMU twice in the semis to advance.
Their offense showing up. It was silent. But also, I mean, JMU was the team that knocked them into the losers bracket. So it's kind of a little redemption being able to come back through. The team that beat you, the pitcher that beat you.
Certainly still in the discussion to make a case for being one of the best teams, if not the best batting order in history if they cap it off with a ring. Record-setting performances throughout the year for the Sooners. Alabama would love to rewrite the story here and pull off one of the biggest comebacks in the history of the series. Trailing 8-0, they've gotten 2 back.
Ball.
Florida State continues to use that shift against the lefties, the slappers of both Brown and Mack. Brown in the 9 spot, Mack in the leadoff spot. You can see the left fielder, so center fielder Danny Morgan's all the way over, almost in the left center gap, and the left side of the infield pulled up. And every pitch is going to be on the outside corner.
Yep. With the shift on, Mudge out and left has actually recorded a couple of outs on foul balls that would usually be out of a reach. Pulled way over down the line. 2-2 pitch, Brown. Slaps it foul.
And a lot of times you always want to pitch the lefties somewhat outside, get back under the hands, but I think the biggest thing too, Beth, is that with the rule, you're trying to get them to step out of the box. You can get an umpire to see that, expand that strike zone.
Brown up the middle, base hit. Second inning in a row, they're aboard.
They could do a little choke and poke too, Beth. Watch Alyssa Brown. Look how choked up she is on the bat. I mean, she's a good 3 inches up on the handle. Literally just gets to contact, 3/4 swing, up in the zone. Base hit.
Alexis Mack, 0 for 2 tonight.
Ball.
Two runs across in the third when they were able to get Hemphill and Tao to the plate with runners on. Trying to do it again here in the 5th. One and one. Short game and it's Sherrill. Got her at first.
How about the defensive play from Sydney Sherrill? We saw it in 2018 with Jessie Warren from that third base position. And now look at Sydney Sherrill. She's going to come across, quick release, the way she gets that ball and gets rid of it. You have to be on your toes in order to get Alexis Mack out, and Sydney Sherrill throws her out by a step.
Bailey Hemphill now with Brown out at second. In for a strike at 70 miles an hour from Kaylin Arnold.
Ball.
Missed it high, 1-1. Danielle Watson trotting out to the bullpen. Bailey Hemphill waited on it, drives it deep and gone! And the deficit has been cut in half.
The biggest players coming into this tournament we have seen step up on the biggest stage. We saw Jocelyn Allo do it for her 32nd home run earlier today. Bailey Hemphill, the SEC Player of the Year, gets an off-speed pitch that she just drives with first base open. Score 2.
Bailey says, get on up. We're not done yet. Down 8-0. They have gotten 4 back with a 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Career home run number 64 for Bailey, and look at the mood swing now for Alabama. As it would appear that Florida State will make its second pitching change. So here's the setup, folks. No team has come back from an 8-run deficit in the history of the World Series. Back in 2014, Baylor rallied from a 7-run deficit to beat Kentucky. That's the biggest comeback in history. With the crazy World Series that we have had so far, that is definitely in play here for Alabama, as Hemphill hits the 2-run homer. And they have seized the momentum.
This is just a changeup that is hung, and Bailey goes and gets it.
She's got such a quiet swing. I mean, barely even lifts that foot, really just a heel up and down, and allows no head movement to recognize the off speed and the power. So easy for the SEC's best.
We revisit what has taken place. First 2 innings, hitless. Since then, 7 hits have driven in 4 runs. And they are about to see the 3rd Seminole pitcher of the night. Let's go up onto the studio set. Kayla Bro, the
she's not biased.
Alabama national champion in 2012. The high five for Jenny Dalton Hill, the Arizona grad.
Take the player out of Tuscaloosa. Can't take the Tuscaloosa out of the player. Kayla Bro still rooting on her Crimson Tide.
Out there with Courtney Lyle and Amanda Scarborough.
Jenny Dalton Hill.
Haley Tao to Mason. 2 down. There's the book on Danielle Watson. Her 30th appearance. She's 10-1, the junior from Osceola, Indiana.
She spins it well. Uses a lot of off speed. Working on changes, working on a rise ball as well. She can bring it in the upper 60s, so between down and off and some velo, trying to keep him off balance.
We saw Lonnie Alameda in the break have her entire pitching staff together, going over the game plan, going over the adjustments, not just talking to the starting pitcher. It's one thing to utilize a whole staff, but it's also important to educate them throughout the game so they are ready.
For Danielle Watson, a couple of relief appearances in the regionals and supers. Just a 1/3 of an inning of work in the Women's College World Series, and that included a home run ball.
typically high 60s, and she's been clocking at over the 70s, so she's amped up here.
Well, we've talked about the Alabama side, guys. What about the Florida State side right now as they see that lead start to dwindle? The thoughts in their minds.
Yep.
I think the fact that you still have 8 runs and you feel those 8 runs, and even though the momentum right now is for Alabama, the crowd is for Alabama, you still have the confidence. You're in the driver's seat. You got to remind yourself of that. We had a 4-run lead. Pressure's still on Bama.
Well, it's all about outs now. Each team gets those 21 outs. Bama's got 7 of them left. So if you're Florida State, you're figuring out how do we pick them up.
KB Sides. First hit of the series for Sides in the 4th when she doubled to lead off the inning. Ball. Oh, you think of some of the crazy games the Tide have had here. They've won games on pinch hit grand slams. They've lost games on pinch hit grand slams. Their 13th trip here to Oklahoma City. A win away from the finals last year when they were on the other side of the equation. They beat Oklahoma in the first game of the semis and then lost in the second. It was the seniors in 2012 that led them to the championship. Will it be the seniors again today, like the Bailey Hempels and KB Sides? Another off the end of the bat. Support for Watson from her mates around the infield. Sides scoops it through. 2 on with 2 outs. Second hit for KB.
Perfectly placed, doesn't hit it too hard, battles 2 strikes, 2-2 count with 2 outs.
Well,
pass the bat.
That's exactly, I was just going to say, what did Murph tell Holly Rowe? Pass it.
And he said, don't change the channel.
Some may have not heeded advice and now they've changed it back.
That's right.
Savannah Woodard, 0 for 2 today. Right back up the middle. Murphy is going to wave the runner home. The cutoff and the out at third base. One run in and then Sides the third out of the inning at third.
But don't forget, the SEC Player of the Year cuts the lead in half with this swing. She puts 2 on to start this inning. Bama down 5-8.
We can lose the battle.
How about the defensive play for Florida State to get the third out of the inning? So Danny Morgan is going to come up firing. KB Sides stops at second. Look, she's at second because she needs to see what's going to happen with this throw coming in from Danny Morgan. And Elizabeth Mason textbook cut. She picks it out of the ground, throws over to Sydney Sherrill, who is also in perfect position. And this is the key. Sydney Sherrill gets back to the bag. Mason comes over, picks the ball out, over to Sherrill for the tag, and KB sides out.
We have seen so much aggressive base running. We have not seen executed cuts. The base running has always paid off, but Mason finally executing the first time I've seen this World Series to get the trail runner.
They get the third out at third base after the RBI single from Savannah Woodard, making it a 3-run game with a couple more at-bats for the Tide to work with. Can the Seminoles now respond the way Alabama did earlier? Mason, Davis, and Flaherty. Elizabeth with the 3-run home run in the first. The grounder to Clark, who waited on it and waited too long. Infield hit for Lizzie.
So much deceptive speed too. Mason from the right side doesn't look. She leads this team in stolen bases. She gets down the line. If she was a slapper, there's no way Taylor Clark would have done that, but she's thinking she's got time when she doesn't. She's got to come into this ground ball. She waits, it's a base hit.
Looks like Kyle Preste will be the pinch hitter here to hit for Cassidy Davis, who has struck out 3 times today.
That's what's so interesting about this Florida State team. This is your cleanup hitter that's getting pinch hit for. That's how much any hitter can struggle. You mentioned Cassidy Davis, the 3 strikeouts, but that's your cleanup hitter getting pinch hit for.
That's not LaPresti. That's going to be Riggs coming out. So Deion Riggs, instead of the power, they go with the lefty speed.
Oh, this is all about trying to move Mason up 60 feet. A little bit of small ball.
Remember Mason, 18 stolen bases. She leads this team. Doesn't mean it'll be a straight steal. It'll be a hit and run, slap and run. Ball in the dirt run.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen it all from these Seminoles.
Clark makes the play to first, just to get her. Moves Mason over to second.
It's a good call. By 2 inches.
Yeah, might have been able to go to second with that speed of Mason. But Woodard, on that particular play, was at second base when that ball went to Maddie Morgan in that first inning. It was an error. Check that second inning.
Devin Flaherty, a chance here to get a run back. Singled and scored in the third. Eight of the 9 spots in the lineup have reached base. 7 have scored.
Counting outs in the dugout.
6 of them.
They're going to need some more runs before they get there. Bama offense showing they're not going to let up.
5 for 12 with a runner in scoring position tonight. Flaherty out to right, sides has it. Mason holds 2 down. Those hits coming off of Montana Fouts, the starter. Since then, Kilfoyle has done a terrific job not allowing the Noles to put any more runs up.
Ball.
It'll be interesting to see what Alabama does here with Danny Morgan. Danny Morgan hit Kilfoyle very well last night. First base is open. I'm not giving her much to hit if I'm the Tide right now.
Single and a walk already in the ball game.
She had that big triple that missed a home run by 2 feet off the wall.
Slashes that opposite. Influencing Michelle's decision more and more to put her on base.
Absolutely. She was 2 for 3 last night.
That's one of the veterans from the championship team in 2018. 5 of them. They've all come up with big hits in this World Series. Nice ball-handed grab. Conference in the circle here for the Tide. Here's what's at stake, a spot in the finals for the winner tonight. And a date with the top seed, the Oklahoma Sooners. They beat James Madison 7-1 today. G. Juarez, the 4-hitter with 11 strikeouts. She was terrific. Big home run ball from Jocelyn Alo. Got some viewers of interest north of the border. That is the Canadian Olympic team guys watching their assistant coach, Lonnie Alameda.
Oh, that's awesome.
She'll be coaching them in Tokyo. Photo courtesy of Danielle Laurie.
That's right. Jim Selling and company.
Little D-Lo with the velo.
Lauren Bay. Yeah. Lefty. Heater.
Ball.
Ball in dirt.
Mason goes and gets third.
I love the read on this because this is the best point of view from second base. Read that immediately. Watch Mason. As soon as it's in the dirt, gone.
Big moment for Kilfoyle to try and keep Mason at third base. Chop to second, Woodard, and they will do just that. Tide keeps Mighty Mo on its side, trying to make up for the 3-run deficit.
Scarborough, Lyle, Bro, JDH, the popular place to be out here in right field. Wow, Florida State setting the tone, and they did it at the top of their order with Kaylee Mudge.
So impressed with the way that the freshmen have showed up in this game. 4 for 4, she set the tone big. And I'm really impressed with the relief pitching performance we've seen, especially Lexi Kilfoyle after Montana Fouts didn't have her best outing. She's given Bama a chance to stay in this game.
And with first base open, they pitched to Bailey Hemphill. She's a difference maker. BMO, future podcast names, Choke and Poke, Foggy Goggles, up for grabs.
Those are already in the hopper, ladies. The 7 Innings Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. 8-0 Florida State to open things up through the first 3 innings, and then the Tide went to work. Got 2 back in the 3rd, 3 more in the 5th. They have 6 outs to work with to try and even the score or win it. It would be the biggest comeback in World Series history if they can pull it off.
Ball.
Morgan, Clark, and Brown, the bottom 3 in the lineup, have scored 3 runs and have 3 hits. They face the 3rd pitcher of the ball game for the Seminoles, Danielle Watson, on in relief in the 5th. The starter, Kat Sandercock, who could re-enter, is back out in the bullpen warming up for the Seminoles. Morgan. Out to Mudge. 1 away. Usually when you start out 2-0, that's a really good thing. 2-0 teams not to reach the Champ Series. Well, it includes James Madison from earlier tonight. Just 5 times all time, and Alabama trying not to add their name to that list.
Well, in 2018, UCLA, Florida State beat them twice to punch their ticket, and then continued on to beat Washington to win their first national championship.
Florida on that list beat Alabama twice in the semifinals to advance. This is Taylor Clark. Ball. Just 2 hits in the postseason, but a single in the 3rd that started the comeback. If she can cap it, she may never have to buy a beverage in Tuscaloosa again.
Well, and I think in order to start it, Alabama needs to be very picky with their pitch selection against Watson, because she's got 38 base on balls. So she's, of their big 3 arms of Sandercock, Arnold, and Watson, 38 base on balls and the fewest amount of innings, almost half, in 82 innings. So control issues at times. But sometimes when you're effectively wild, you do get, especially when teams are behind them, to whiff at pitches because they're trying to put runs up on the board.
1-2. Induces another pop-up. Cheryl's got it. 2 down. Check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, you're talking about all of that history and teams that lose on the first day, only a 7% chance to make it, and how unusual that is. Well, Florida State doesn't care about history. I was talking with these players yesterday. They were exhausted. They'd played through the night trying to find that strength to beat Alabama yesterday, and they said, we've been here before. They had come through the losers bracket in that 2018 year. 5 of those players are still on this team. They're unfazed.
And as we've been talking about, Holly, they have all made big plays at the plate for the Seminoles. Looking to get the final out here the 6th, and then they would have Bama down to their last at-bat in the 7th. Brown right back to Watson, over to first. The scoop by Mason got her.
Literally a scoop, an ice cream scoop on the top there.
To the 7th, a 3-run Florida State lead.
The NCAA Women's College World Series is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Back in time to a title for Florida State 2018 on June the 5th, coming out of the losers bracket, winning 6 games in a row, and they cap it off with a win over the Washington Huskies. Their first national championship on their 10th trip to the World Series. Megan King was brilliant. 4 wins in Oklahoma City, just 1 run in 33 1/3 innings. Seminoles hit 10 home runs, led by Sydney Sherrill, Elizabeth Mason, and Anna Shellnutt. As we move into the top of the 7th, it's the Noles with a 3-run lead. They are 3 outs away from the Champ Series with Oklahoma, which would begin tomorrow night. Coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN.
This is such a story that will be told, regardless of Florida State winning or losing this game. So many teams throughout the regular season, when they're struggling, will tell this story of this team and how behind they were in the conference, how much no one was talking about them, how frustrated they were, and yet here they are. It's always the preach that you hear from coaches, but now you have the example. Because as a player, you're like, yeah, whatever. You know, we're never going to get out of this.
Yeah, well, you have to buy in. You have to believe. You have to believe that postseason Anna is going to reappear, and she did in the middle of the night against Oklahoma State. That solo shot jump-started. Amazing.
Just needed the clock to get past midnight. Ball. Muffley, Shellnutt, Harding. Muffley to Woodard. 1 down. Let's revisit Lizzie Mason and her ice cream scoop moment here, guys.
Love the way the throw is down in the dirt.
Watch the eyes. Watch the eyes. Oh, Christmas morning.
Is that not like the 5-year-old version of Lizzie Mason just being like, look what I got. I got it.
Awesome.
Anna Shellnutt. Mason, Sherrill, and Mudge, the top 3 in the lineup today, hit 700 with a home run and 6 of the 8 runs batted in. Just what you love to see for the top of your order. Speaking of which, that will be Bama's order in the bottom of the 7th.
The key for them, Beth, is Alexis Mack has been silenced here at the Women's College World Series. One of their best hitters. She will be leading off. She has been a stud, a table setter, huge, hitting before Bailey Hemphill. It won't matter. She's been 0-4. She can get on base for the Tide in the 7th.
Well, you hear it time and again, the clutch hitting, the timely hits. She's 2 for 13 in the series, but all would be forgotten with a leadoff in front of Bailey in the 7th. Double. And then, of course, it's not even a given you would pitch to her. But Tao has been great at protecting her all season.
Well, I think if Mack's not on base, you have to go right out of Hemphill.
Including a 3-run home run already here in OKC. Morgan, 2 down. Kaylee Harding. And again, a big out here for Lexi Kilfoyle to make this 1-2-3, so those run producers and scorers at the top do not get to the plate. They're up next. Ball. Ball. 2-0 pitch. Harding back up the middle, and the top of the order will get a peek. Second hit for the number 9 hitter tonight. And that'll bring up Kaylee Mudge, who is 4 for 4 with 2 runs scored and 2 driven in.
Ball.
For 5 on the night. 2 on with 2 out. And that'll bring up Cheryl again. Couple of walks and an RBI double for Sydney. Huge here for Florida State if they can push something across. With all the momentum on the Alabama side of late. In for a strike. Mudge, by the way, 5 hits on the evening. Ties the World Series record for a single game.
One of those hits was a squeeze. Imagine that's the first 5 hit with a squeeze and a double.
Morgan will step on the base, so here we go. Remember what Coach Murphy told us earlier.
But don't turn the channel, because we still got a lot of fight in us, and we're going to show it.
Bailey Hemphill. Can she and the Tide come all the way back from an 8-run deficit and make history at the World Series? An 8-0 Florida State lead, and the Tide came creeping back, a couple in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th. Down to their final at-bat, and here was the Bailey bomb from the 5th inning. A 2-run shot. That had the Tide all fired up, and then shortly after that, Elizabeth Mason made an incredible play on a cutoff to throw out KB Sides at 3rd base for the final out of the inning, when there would have still been 2 on board for Alabama. Top of the order, and it's 3 seniors, Mack, Hemphill, and Tao. Danielle Watson in the circle. The winner is into the championship series with Oklahoma tomorrow night.
See if Mac tries to lay down a bun at all.
Tries to go the opposite way with it. Harding on the run, one down. Here comes Bailey Hemphill.
Ball. Ball.
Staying well away from Hemphill.
I think you have to go right at her. It's much harder to hit back-to-back solo home runs than it is to walk Bailey and give up a 2-run home run.
That's in there at the knees. 2-1.
She's definitely taken all the way. Ended up more middle than I think even Watson would have liked.
Two and two. Watson coming right back at her. Bailey Hemphill lines one out to left. Come around strong is Kaylee Mudge. 2 down.
How about the freshman? Have yourself a night. 5 hits. She had a double, a squeeze play, and then the biggest hitter in this Alabama lineup comes in just to make sure, finishes it off with the dive. It's the jump, though, that allows her to get to this ball.
Watson celebrates, and they're down to their last out.
Ball.
Kaylee Tao 1 for 3.
Ball. Ball.
3-0. They've got a sign down the right field line on the foul pole at the Rhodes House. 2 outs. So what? One of the mantras of the Crimson Tide. So many big plays and big moments for all of the seniors up and down this roster, from Morgan and Brown and Sides and Clark. In this inning, Mack and Hemphill and now Tao.
Ball.
And they have a runner on base.
Another third
Janet Johnson. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Strike one. The other way towards Harding, and she's got it. And the Florida State Seminoles will play for the national championship. Coming out of the losers bracket to beat Alabama twice in the semifinals. It's Florida State, Oklahoma for the national championship. Game 1 tomorrow night. As the reliever Danielle Watson picks up the win. They use all 3 on the staff to get it done. And jumping out to the 8-0 lead, they make it stand. 8-5 the final.
Unbelievable what Florida State has done. Facing elimination, struggling throughout the regular season, and literally taking a team, an entire pitching staff, an entire lineup. It was never one star, one player. Elimination game after elimination game, when nobody thought that they could come and beat Montana Fouts today, they had her out of the game in the 3rd inning.
One of the things about this Florida State team is when the lights are bright, they have played their best. It's not how you start, it's not where you're at mid-season, it's how you finish, and they're going to be one of the top 2 finishers to be determined going into this championship series.
They win their 4th elimination game in a row. And how about Holly Rowe and Elizabeth Mason?
I don't know if Elizabeth Mason can hear me because these fans are so loud down here. This is almost impossible to come back to the losers bracket. Why does this team continue to believe in themselves that you can do it?
I just think when you look to your left and your right and you see your sisters, we've been all we've had all season, and we're all we need. We have an amazing support staff, amazing fans, and that's all we need, and we're going to do it.
You guys were very aggressive right out of the gate tonight. You have a home run in the 1st inning. How did you attack in that moment?
I mean, Fouts is an amazing pitcher. You got to tip your cap, but, you know, just having a plan at the plate. One pitch, we've been saying it all season, one pitch is all we need. And just get your swing off, and do it again.
You guys are so aggressive on the base passes, stealing, putting so much pressure on the defense. How are you personally so aggressive out there getting another stolen base here tonight?
If you're not ready to risk it all, you don't deserve to win it all. We're a fast team, we have what it takes, and we're gonna take out every tool we can do to get the win.
It's been a long few days. How can you now regroup to face Oklahoma in the championship series tomorrow?
I think if we can play a game at 3 a.m. and come out and take game 1 from Bama, I think ending at 9 o'clock, I think that's a pretty good amount of time to get some recovery, get some scouting, and get after it tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Holly.
What a win for Florida State as they beat Alabama 8-5. It's the 10 seed that will now tie the record for highest seed to ever win a national championship. They got to go through the 1 seed.